hopefully everybody remembers we talked a little bit about maps and scales a little bit earlier when we were doing the interactive notebook. So today we're going to talk about those in a little bit more detail. So today is going to be a day all about converting scales. Get it? It's a snake. Scales.
I'll give you an A for effort for trying to make the class laugh.
PowerPoint actually just suggested this picture to me, so I decided to keep it in there. But anyway, you don't need to write this stuff down if you don't want to, but some of it is going to be really, really helpful. I would definitely take a picture of the page in just a little bit. But again, you don't necessarily need to write down everything I'm about to go over. So we've talked about scales already. A scale ratio is the actual ratio of a map scale to real life. So what this means is it's going to be written in just a number without units. So 1 to 500, 1 to 250, 1 to 10, whatever. The reason it's written like this is because the units have to be the same. So if we have 1 to 500 and let's say it's in inches, that means that every 1 inch on the map equals 500 inches in real life. The only time you can write a scale like this without any kind of units anywhere in it is if the units are the same. So it's something really important to keep in mind. So this means that the unit on the map is equal to 500 units in real life. 2 inches on a map with a 1 to 500 scale is equal to 2 times 500 or 500 inches in real life. No worries, Charlotte. It's
wait.
No,
how
Jessica,
did it go from 1 to 500 to 2 to 500?
I was just saying that. So this is if we have 1 unit on a real map or on a map, or if we have a map with a scale of 1 to 500, 1 unit on that map. So let's say you move 1 centimeter. It's equal to 500 centimeters in real life. What I'm saying is, in this case, if you had 2 inches on a map, so if you were looking at a map and it was 2 inches from one spot to another, and if this map had a scale of 1 to 500, the way you calculate how far it is in real life is you multiply the number of units on the map by the scale difference. So we multiply it by 500, we get 1,000. Oh, Isaac's entering. His name is Isaac, apparently. Oh, whoops. No, I didn't mean to do that. So yeah, scale ratios must have the same units on both sides of the ratio. I don't know what we're talking about with danger noodles. It's kind of interesting. So here's a question for you, though. What do we do if we're given a scale of 1 inch to 3 feet? What's the issue with this? Can anybody have a guess?
You can't multiply it.
Right, you can't just multiply it directly, because if I say, okay, well then I have, let's say 3 inches. If I multiply that by 3, I would only have 9 inches. And that doesn't work. Now, we could convert the units in this case, and we could say that it's 9 feet. But we can't write this as a scale ratio because it's not 1 to 3, right? It's 1 to 3, 1 inch to 3 feet. We have to include the units if we're going to write this out. So if we want to turn this into a scale ratio, we need to convert the bigger unit of measurement, so in this case, that's the 3 feet, into the smaller unit. So doing that, hopefully you guys already know how to convert these things. We should know already, I hope you all know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So we're going to multiply our number of feet by 12 in order to get our number of inches. In this case, that's 3 times 12. That means we have 36 inches. So our scale here is 1 inch to 36 inches, or just 1 to 36. Are we good so far? Any questions about that?
No questions.
Okay, I'll see questions from anybody else. So here are some basic conversions that you're going to need for the math-based assignment. We've got 12 inches to 1 foot, 3 feet to 1 yard, 1,760 yards to 1 mile. You'll notice these are all measurements that we use in the US, so inches, feet, and yards. These are all metric system stuff. A lot of students, for some reason, hate metric system when they get into science class. This is what you usually use. But look at how much nicer that is. It's just 10, 100, 1,000. Those are so much easier numbers.
Why do we have to learn to use the metric system? Just a question, because it's confusing.
I was just explaining. Look at this. You have 12, 3, and 1,760. With metric, 10, 100, 1,000. Look at how simple that is.
But it makes it more confusing because for your whole life you think like you understand this, and then all of a sudden you're just confused.
I mean, that's
Or-
kind of true. It is a little bit
For
weird
like
because you're
for me
used to.
example, well for me at least, it's just confusing to me.
No, I get what you mean. I mean, you're used to measuring things in inches or feet or whatever, and so then they're like, measure this in centimeters, and you're like, what? Like I do understand, but this is a lot easier to use, especially in science class. We'll use both in math class. You need to be able to do calculations with both, but science class, you're mostly going to stick to metric, and metric is definitely the easier one to do. So make sure you have these down somewhere, either have a picture of them or have them down. I mean, you could look them up every single time on your calculator or on your phone or computer or whatever, but that's going to take you a lot of extra time, and that really won't be helpful. So let's say, we're going to practice an example while you guys write this down. Let's say I have a scale of 1 millimeter to 10 meters. How would I convert this into a scale ratio?
Multiply.
You would multiply, but here's the problem. Millimeters is here and meters is here. So we have to convert meters into centimeters, and then we have to convert the centimeters into millimeters. So
Why?
first thing we do is we take our 10 meters, we multiply it by our 100, in this case it'd be centimeters per meter. And this gives us 1,000 centimeters. Then we need to multiply the 1,000 centimeters by 10, because that's how many millimeters are in a centimeter. And we get 10,000 millimeters. So this written as a scale ratio is 1 to 10,000.
I have a question.
What's your question?
Why do you write so small?
I don't know. That is a good question.
That's-
I wrote the units really small just because I wanted to fit it all, but let's look at a different one. Let's do 2 inches to let's do 3 miles. This is an awful scale, by the way. If you ever see a map with this scale, you should probably just throw it away. But anyway, 2 to 3, that'll give us more interesting math. So how do we convert this one? What's our first thing we're going to multiply?
The 2?
Nope, we're not going to
3.
multiply the 2.
Well,
Yep.
you wouldn't you you would multiply the 3 miles by the what miles yards.
Yep. So
So
good. We
you
first need to go
have-
from miles to yards. So we'd go 3 times 1,760, which is 5,280, I believe. And then we need to take that from yards into feet.
Yes.
Oh, wait, did I do that right? I think so. Okay, so then we take 5280. Here, I'm going to pull out a calculator because this is going to get real big real fast. Sawyer might have already beaten me to it. 3 times 5280. This is 15,840. So now we've got down to feet, and now we need to go from feet to inches. So let's see.
Times 12.
This times 12. That gives us 190,080. So we have 2 inches to 190,080 inches. And then
That's
we
a
can
lot.
actually, in order to finish our scale, we can actually divide both sides by 2. So if we do that, we're going to get 1, 2. It's like reducing a fraction. Wait, what? I hit divided by 5. 95,040. So this one has a much bigger scale than the previous example. But so does everybody get how we're doing that? We're just multiplying by whatever the number is on the left. Now, what if I'm going from, let's say I have 15 meters and I want to convert that to centimeters. Or sorry, I want to convert that to kilometers. What do I do this time? Because now I'm going from here
Wouldn't
to
you
here.
divide?
Yes, you divide. Good. So we take 15, divide it by 1,000, 0.015 kilometers.
And then 0.015 meters or kilometers or whatever to whatever your thing is.
Yep. Yeah, Emma, as somebody who majored in science, I agree. It's very annoying that America wanted to stand out, but that's okay. All right. So the one question I'm going to make you guys do as a class before I let you take off and get started on some work is this one. So it says a map has a scale ratio of 1 to 600. So this time we're already given the scale ratio. We have 6 inches on the map represents what distance in yards in the real world. So this problem is a little bit more difficult. I did major in science, Jamie, yes. I majored in biology and minored in chemistry. So we have a scale of 1 to 600. So first let's figure out how many inches we're going in the real world. So we're at 1 to 600 and we have 6. So we can set 1 to 600, this is our ratio, equal to 6 over x. This is how we can solve this to figure out how many inches we have in the real world. In this case, since you're multiplying 1 by x when you cross multiply, you can just do 6 times 600. So x is going to equal 3,600 inches. Then we need to convert our inches into yards. So to do that, we have to go from inches to feet, and then from feet to yards. And like Tristan said, since we're going up in units, we're going to be dividing. So to get from inches to feet, we take 3,600, we divide that by 12. That's going to give us 300. So we now have 300 feet. And then to go from feet to yards, our conversion factor is 3. Since we're going up, we're going to divide again. So 300 feet divided by 3 equals 100 yards. And now we're done. So 6 inches on this map with the scale ratio of 1 to 600 is equal to 100 yards in the real world. So the distance of a football field. Okay, so that's all I've got in terms of new information. I know none of it's technically new. It's just kind of reviewing unit conversions for you guys. But the homework today is going to deal a lot with using these scale ratios and maps and things. Before you take off, I want to talk really quick. I am going through, I'm going to finish grading the assignment that was due today. If you're not done with it, it's back up and activated again. You can still work on it. It's going to be in your upcoming tasks. I moved the due date to August, so it's still available. You can still work on it. If you want to stay and get help, please do. We would definitely like to help people get through these. If you're not already getting done with assignments, tomorrow we do have a quiz on this stuff. It's a small, short quiz. A lot of it's review. But if you haven't done any of the homework, it's going to be kind of difficult. So make sure you've at least tried all of the assignments. But yeah, you guys have the rest of class today, which is like almost an hour. So please get some work done. Get to it, guys. If you want to stay and get help, do so. If not, you're free to go. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.
You're still recording.